Hi, welcome to KiwaniTalk. We're a public information program put together by people from the Dearborn Kiwanis Club here at the facilities of Dearborn High School. We get help from our club members, some students from Dearborn High. My name is Gary Gardner, and welcome to the longest running cable access program in the entire world. This is KiwaniTalk. We've been around for a long, long time, ever since Moby Dick was a minnow, as a matter of fact. So we've got someone else here who wasn't as long as Moby Dick, or they're not a minnow, but we do have from the Wayne County Commission, Sam Baydoun, the Vice Chair Pro Tem, Wayne County Commission, Realtor Extraordinaire for Century 21, Kern and Oberski. Welcome back to the program, Sam.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks for having me back. I'm glad to be back.
It's good to have you back. It's good to have people who you see like a local boy makes good, works his way up in the real estate world, works his way up in the commission, giving back some public service. But it's good to see you back here in the chair again. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Thanks for having me, and I'm honored to be here.
So I see your face all over the place in real estate signs in Dearborn. But did you grow up in Dearborn? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Dearborn. I was 15 when I came here. I went to Fortson High School, graduated 81, class of 81 from Fortson, and attended Henry Ford College. And then went on to Detroit College of Business. It used to be on Michigan Avenue by Oakman.
Right, I used to teach over there a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And no, I came to Dearborn when I was 15 too. I came via Chicago and Canada and Australia and all different strange places. So Dearborn is a unique town. We have viewers in 43 cities. Talk about Dearborn and what it is compared to a lot of other cities and some of the qualities that our city has.
Dearborn is one of the most diverse cities in the country, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, Dearborn could be a national role model. And I have seen the ups and downs in Dearborn, if you will. You know, since I've been in the real estate business in the mid-'80s, I saw the recessions in the early '90s. But Dearborn, I saw the transformation. I mean, you used to, when I came to this country in the late 70s, you would drive up on Warren Avenue. You saw a lot of boarded up buildings on Warren Avenue. Now you can't touch any real estate anywhere on Michigan Avenue or Warren Avenue. The economic vitality, the immigrants that come to this country for a purpose, they come to work and succeed, and they're starting these businesses, and we've become, I mean, you look, we have the best Middle Eastern food outside the Middle East in the city of Dearborn.
Biggest Lebanese city outside of Beirut in the world.
Yes, exactly. Right? Little, between the Lebanese community, the Yemeni community, the Iraqi community, we have the melting pot in the city of Dearborn, the Italian community, the Polish community. Each community that came to Dearborn played its part in terms of contributing to the greatness of this great city. And I love the city of Dearborn. I've lived in Dearborn since I came here, and I wouldn't live anywhere else, honestly.
That's interesting to talk about the people who come, but there's also a structure that comes too, and the structure that we deal with in Dearborn is the city structure, the county structure, which you're a big part of, and then the state structure. But the city of Dearborn always has seemed to me to have a pretty pretty tight control on ordinances, for example, building codes and things like that. Compared to other cities, it's a little more difficult to get a building permit in Dearborn or to get a sales permit in Dearborn than other towns. Talk about that.
Well, that's changing. Historically, it was, being in the real estate business, I witnessed that firsthand. They do have strict building codes. For example, in Dearborn, you cannot buy a home and occupy it without having a city inspection, without having a certificate of occupancy. The city comes in, they check for safety items like handrails, smoke detectors, other safety items, if you will. But nowadays, as you know from your daughter being in the business, most of the buyers nowadays, they do their own private inspection. But to your point, yes, the city of Dearborn they have ordinances, and they have certain areas you cannot put like 10-story building, for example. You know, there's certain regulations, and that's how you keep the aesthetics of the different parts of the city, to be compatible with the rest of the neighborhood.
And then you have your particular role as a Wayne County Commissioner. And then, we can talk about a Wayne County Commission and people hear it and we vote for it, but what in the world, for our viewers' edification, is the Wayne County Commission? What do you guys do?
So the Wayne County Commission is the legislative body of Wayne County. You can think of us as members of the city council on the county level. There's 15 commissioners in Wayne County. Each commissioner represents a district. I represent the great city of Dearborn and the northern part of Allen Park. On the average, each commissioner represents about 120, 125,000 residents. We are responsible for passing the budget, which is the biggest obligation that we have in Wayne County. We also vote and approve on contracts for the roads. We maintain over 1,400 miles in Wayne County, and those roads have to be maintained, the roads, the bridges. We have to vote on these contracts. Anything over $150,000 to be expended by the executive branch of Wayne County government, it has to come in front of us, in front of the Wayne County Commission.
And Wayne County's population, it's a pretty good-sized county, too.
Yeah, we're at about 1.7 million.
There was a time when I ran for circuit judge in Wayne County, and a friend of mine, Jim Shalinsky, was a circuit judge. And
Yes.
he says, Gary, why do you want to run for circuit judge in Wayne County? You could run for governor or United States senator in 17 states that have smaller populations than Wayne County. And I said, no, come on, I'll do it, I made it to the finals and it was good, but no, it is a big county and
It's the largest county in the state.
And what about the budget? How big is the budget for the Wayne County Commission?
The budget this year is going to be about 1.8. Last year, I believe it was 1.8. It might be a little bit more this year. We're in the budget process right now.
That's not with an M, it's with a B.
With a B. 1.8 to 1.9 billion is the budget for this year.
So again, people say, well, you're spending my money, and which I pay taxes, and what's the tax base? And so people understand the percentage of their property taxes that go to the city they live in versus the part that goes to the county.
So let me make this very simple. Also, I'm putting my real estate hat on here because I do this every year when the tax assessment comes out and people start going crazy, getting confused between assessed value and taxable value, and capping and uncapping. Every dollar the city of Dearborn takes in, they keep approximately about 32 cents out of that $1. And the rest of the money gets distributed to the schools, Henry Ford, the Wayne County. Wayne County has not had an increase in their millage probably since over 35 years, at least. The county takes in 5.9%. That's the millage rate that we levy for all the communities in Wayne County, throughout Wayne County, 5.9%.
And so let's talk about the equalized value versus the taxable value. And so if you have a house that sold for, say, $100,000, the tax is on $50,000 from that. And that's what they expect.
So if the home is sold for $100,000, realistically, logically, yes, the taxable value should be at $50,000. Okay, but now we get into the discussion of Proposal A. People who have been in their homes for many years realize the benefit of Proposal A because the taxable value will only increase at the rate of inflation. The SEV, the state equalized value, goes up a lot higher based on the sales comparables in the neighborhood, what the homes have sold for. Interestingly, Gary, for the first time ever, this year, we saw the taxable value go up by 5%, which is capped by Proposal A. The inflation rate was 7.5 or 7.9, but because of the capping, we only went up by 5%. Every resident in the state of Michigan saw an increase in their property taxes by 5% this year because of the inflation rate.
Is it a 5% raise, or is the value went up 5%, and the tax on that 5% increase? So we're getting into the weeds here on real estate.
Yeah, but in general, a lot of the people get affected by the increase in the taxes, what we call the pop-up tax. If you bought a house last year, this year your taxes are going to go a lot higher because chances are the previous owner was capped for a long time. When they remove the uncapping, when they remove the ceiling on the assessment, then they reassess the home at a new rate.
And I explain it to my real estate clients in my law practice is that if you've lived in a house and you sell the house for $500,000, you've been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Your taxes are way down here.
Yes. Yes.
You buy another house for exactly what you sold your house for, your taxes are going to triple, probably go up and triple because of that Prop A.
For most of the residents that have been in their homes, they will see a big gap between the taxable value and the assessed value.
Right.
When the property gets sold the second year, those two values become equal.
Right.
Okay, and it starts going up at a higher rate on the SEV than the taxable value.
So with all this tax thing, and people are worried about how the money's being spent, how conscious are the other members and yourself, especially on the Wayne County Commission, Sam Baydoun, how conscious are you of being good stewards of our money?
We are very conscious, and we vote on the contracts, and we scrutinize the administration. Obviously, they get the contracts and they send it to us, and they go usually most of the time with the lowest bidder on any project in Wayne County. And we do ask the questions. Yeah, we are the legislative body. We oversee. We're the oversight, if you will, of the money, how it gets spent. Obviously, we don't want to squander any money and spend money foolishly. Yes, we always ask the tough questions. How is this? Sometimes we get contracts that are retroactive or sole source because nobody else wanted to bid on a project, for example. And we ask the tough questions on the commission about every contract that comes in front of us.
You talk about low bidders. Neil Armstrong on Apollo 11 on his way to the moon mused, he said, "Here I am, 100,000 miles from Earth in the most complicated machine ever built by man, over 1 million individual parts, put together by the low bidder."
That's a good one.
So the low bidder is, he made it back and forth to the moon, but it's not always a bad thing to have the low bidder there.
Yeah, yeah.
So we talked before the show, and we're going to take a break here in about a minute or two, about how concerned people are, and that there's an incident in Dearborn where a bunch of trees were taken down on Outer Drive between Ford Road and Wilson, and people are saying, why would the commission take down our trees? And
well,
what about that? That's a big deal.
It's not the commission, just for the clarification. Yeah. That's the roads division in Wayne County. We have a forestry division. So let me just get this very clear. Wayne County will not take down a healthy tree. Those trees on Outer Drive were diseased or they were dead trees. Someone had contacted the forestry division complaining about the condition of the trees. They sent out people. They inspected all these trees, and there were 26 trees that were identified as unhealthy, diseased, or dead trees. Instead of waiting for a storm to happen and they come down crashing on a home or a vehicle, they took them down, and Wayne County will replace all of those trees. That's 100%. They will replace every tree that they took down.
So you are kind of like a city council person, because people with issues in your district can call up and say, and if someone had a question for Sam Baydoun, they live in Dearborn or northern part of Allen Park, how do they get a hold of Sam Baydoun? They
can call me. I usually give my personal cell phone number, believe it or not. They can call my office number, or they can call 313-549-2910. This is my Wayne County phone, 313-549-2910.
Okay, well, we're going to come back after, take a break here. We've got some spots put together by students at Dearborn High, talking about Kiwanis. Let's talk about where Sam Baydoun and the Wayne County Commission sees the future for Wayne County. Okay, don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's easy to get caught up in the details. The day-to-day grind, numb to the noise, going round and round and round. Deep down, there's something missing. A void inside, a hole to fill, a life lacking. Then, in a minute of clarity, it hits you. The aha moment. You're needed. Kids need you. Kids of all kinds. All these funny, rambunctious, sweet, attention-seeking, vulnerable bundles of energy. They need your love and support. Some have huge life hurdles. Poverty, disease, hunger. And they're reaching out for you. Around the corner, around the world. You are a Kiwanian at heart, a role model, a guide, a builder of dreams. Together, we are Kiwanis, passionate and strong, ready to move mountains or grains of sand. Imagine every child reaching their potential. The power to help is in you. It's not about us. It's about them. Do you hear the call? Kids need Kiwanis. Kiwanis needs you.
Welcome back to KiwaniTalk. My name is Gary Gardner, your host, with the esteemed Sam Baydoun, Vice Chair Pro Tem of the Wayne County Commission. Welcome back to the show. You know, the future of Wayne County, the future of Dearborn looks pretty good because we've got the development that we talked about in the first part of the show. All these buildings that are old buildings being torn down, new buildings being put up. How does that translate, Sam, to the greater part of Wayne County, and starting with, it's not your district, but downtown Detroit, Woodward Avenue, that whole downtown to midtown to out there. It's like, if you drive down there, it's amazing.
Yes, you can't even touch the real estate in downtown Detroit. It's so expensive. There's a lot of development going on throughout Wayne County. You got the big national chains coming to Wayne County. You got the Amazons and a lot of these big companies. They want to be in Wayne County, and the future is bright for Wayne County. I'm very excited about the future for the city of Dearborn. We have a lot of new businesses going in Dearborn, a lot of new construction. Dearborn is like other city. We are experiencing a lack of inventory in terms of housing, and we don't have enough land. We have the new projects that hopefully are going to start taking shape by the former site of the Hyatt Regency that was purchased by a developer from New York. You have a complex of condos behind it that's going up. They're almost done there. There's a lot of vacant land that was sold by Ford, the motor company, that also they're going to develop into residential areas by Greenfield and Ford Road, that pocket over there by Paul on the border of Detroit. There's going to be residential and commercial development over there. There's a lot of exciting things happening in Dearborn as part of Wayne County.
So how can the Wayne County Commission, the vision hopefully that the commission has, how can you steer that development rather than putting up, like you said, 10-story high-rise apartments? How can you steer that?
Well,
what's the vision?
We don't get involved in terms of the Wayne County Commission in terms of the development of these buildings, but we obviously encourage and we support anybody that comes in. They want to do business in Wayne County. You know, Wayne County government, the executive branch of government, they will facilitate, they will work with them, with their local cities. You know, for example, Wayne County can work with the city of Dearborn on facilitating a big company that might want to come into Dearborn, for example, to set up their new business, for example. But in Wayne County, the Wayne County Commission does not get involved in terms of approving permits for buildings.
Well, I understand that. I'm saying, but the bigger vision of, here's the commission, we encourage the development of
course, yeah.
of either single family or multifamily or retail or industrial, or how do you focus that through the commission if you can?
Well, many of us that live in the outer part of the city, outside the city of Detroit, yeah, we would like to see more development, even in the city of Detroit. There's certain pockets of the city of Detroit that have been neglected. They haven't caught up in terms of the development, the expansion, if you will. We want to see all of Wayne County thriving, not just Dearborn and Dearborn Heights and Detroit. Every community, we have 43 communities in Wayne County, and we want every community to be thriving and doing well economically in Wayne County.
So how can the commission facilitate that? What can you do to help that?
Well, we can encourage through, like, for example, if I know someone is coming that want to start a business in Dearborn or somewhere in Wayne County, I will make the contacts with the different entities within Wayne County, if you will, and within the cities to see what we can do to help. For example, I was involved prior to this developer. There was another potential buyer coming from New York to purchase the Hyatt Regency, and I was involved as a real estate broker. I was using my real estate experience to try to facilitate this developer coming into Dearborn. We had a meeting with Mayor O'Reilly at the time, I remember, in 2018, I think it was, or 2019. And we had a meeting with somebody from the economic development team from Wayne County also, because they do look for incentives. Sometimes they might look for some kind of an incentive, whether it's through the brownfield project. There's a lot of ways where the economic development team in Wayne County also can assist these big companies coming into Wayne County to do business.
And it's got to be warm the cockles of your realtor's heart to see these developments coming along. Of course.
It's a blessing when you see, old dilapidated building being demolished and something new going up.
At the same time, you hate to see historical
good
structure torn down.
No, I agree. Certain buildings, they should. I love looking at the site of the Dearborn Historical Museum. They put these pictures of Dearborn, what it looked like in the 50s and the 60s and the 40s. Yes, certain buildings that are historical, of course, we want to preserve historical buildings, no doubt about that.
But again, you run into the problem of gentrification, where they've developed an old area like a Corktown area in Detroit.
Yes.
And the people that live there can't afford to live there anymore because the rents go up so high.
Yes.
That brings up another thing: rents versus ownership. There's a lot of benefit to owning property.
Obviously, many people cannot afford buying right now because of the high interest rate.
My youngest daughter, is lamenting the fact that she has a CPA, master's degree, she's a manager at a major accounting firm, and she can't afford a down payment for a house.
Yeah, because when the interest rates were very low, people could afford a home and without a problem. Many people, but right now the same buyer that could buy a house for $500,000, they cannot buy the same house and afford the same payment because of the interest rate. There's also an interesting fact that's really the underlying factor that's driving this shortage of inventory. 70% of the existing mortgages in the United States are between 2.75% to 3.5%. So people are staying put because if they sell, they're not going to get the same interest rate. And that's helping create this shortage of housing inventory in the market.
Plus, you have people like my wife, who, when we bought our house, we have a house pretty close to Dearborn High here. She said, when we leave, we're going to leave feet first. Either we don't pay the mortgage, the sheriff evicts us, or the coroner's going to take us out. Yeah. And that's how people's attitude is towards those properties. Sam Baydoun, we're down to our last about 3 minutes. What is your focus as a commissioner? What are you trying to help the commission do? And when are you going to become the chair of the commission?
I don't know about becoming the chair of the commission. I'm very excited to work with Alicia Bell. She's a great chairperson, and Joey Palomera, the first vice chair. I'm a team player. As far as my focus, our focus, my main concern is always the safety, the public safety, the roads, like the repaving of Michigan Avenue, Outer Drive, like Miller Road, the biggest nightmare for the residents of the South End. Finally, we got approved. We got the funding from the state. They're gonna we shut down Miller Road right now. The county did. They're gonna start getting prepared for the construction, which is gonna take about 2 years. So the biggest concern for me is also there's another area that I want to talk about is I'm involved in the Health and Human Services Committee also. I'm talking about the drug problem, what's going on in our community, and the suicides, and a lot of these things that a lot of young people are dying needlessly because of so much pressure, and we need to, mental illness, that's what I'm looking for. Mental illness is a big issue throughout the United States, not just here.
We could do a whole show on,
Yes.
on the mental illness, but
Yeah.
it used to be that if a person had mental health issues, they could have facilities for
Yes.
them, but those facilities don't exist anymore.
Yeah, and that's,
they're awfully expensive to maintain.
Yeah, that's the biggest challenge, and there's there are many residents are suffering, and we're trying to create and find the resources for people to cope with mental health issues.
So Sam Baydoun, we were down to our last minute here. People want to reach Wayne County Commissioner Sam Baydoun. The best number is
313-549-2910.
And he's like your city council person. Call him up. You've got a problem. You live in Dearborn. I'm going to put you some more business here, Sam.
Yeah.
Dearborn, Northern Allen Park, or probably any place. If you have an issue in Wayne County and you need to talk to someone, would you help them out?
Of course, anywhere throughout Wayne County. Yeah, I'll work with the commissioner out of respect for that district, and I'll work with him. And I've done that many times over.
Well, thank you once again for coming on the show. It's great to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Good to
coming
see-
on.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger like you. It's been a while since you were here.
I know, it's
Okay.
been a while.
And thank you for tuning in to KiwaniTalk.
Thank
My
you.
name's Gary Gardner. Don't forget Sam Baydoun. You're up next year for re-election, right?
Yes, next
Okay.
year, yes.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you.